So in this video, I'm going to explain the difference between somatic cells and gametes or gametic cells. So pretty much somatic cells are cells of the body. They're pretty much everything except for gametes. So your skin cells, your liver cells, the cells in your eye, the cells in your hand, for example, literally everything except for gametes. So obviously, when we talk about somatic cells and genetics in general, we're going to be talking a lot about humans. And so in humans, somatic cells are diploid, which means that they contain 2 copies of each chromosome. So we have 23 different chromosomes. And so in a somatic cell, there's going to be 2 copies of chromosome 1, 2 copies of chromosome 2, and so on to the sex-determining chromosome. And that one's a little different because in humans, somatic cells contain, for males, it contains an X and a Y chromosome. And for females, it contains 2 X chromosomes. And so human somatic cells have 23 pairs of chromosomes, so you have a total of 46 chromosomes. And the reason this occurs is because each parent has to contribute half of the chromosomes. So half of the chromosomes come from the mom and half comes from the dad. So 23 from the mom, 23 from the dad. So let me just summarize what I just stated because I understand it can be a little confusing. So a human somatic cell contains 46 chromosomes. And the 46 chromosomes are arranged into 23 pairs, where 1 chromosome from each pair is from the mom and the other one is from the dad. Now that was it for somatic cells. Now let's talk about gametes or gametic cells. Gametic cells are haploid, which means they have half of the normal chromosome number. And so gametes have 23 chromosomes. And so some examples of gametes are sperm and egg. And gametes are produced by meiosis, which is a topic that we covered in a previous video. If you're curious, you can look it up. But anyway, essentially gametes are just reproductive cells. Sperm and eggs are examples, or oocytes. And then so they're haploid, which means there's 1 copy of each chromosome, and they unite to form a diploid embryo. And so some key things to note that are differences between somatic cells and gametes are somatic cells are diploid cells, while gametes are haploid. Stem cells can give rise to somatic cells, while germ cells give rise to gametes. Somatic cells are also found in pretty much everywhere in the body, while gametes are only restricted to certain parts, such as your reproductive parts. And finally, somatic cells form internal and external structures of the body, whereas obviously gametes do not. And so that pretty much sums it up for this video. I hope you liked it and found it useful. If you did, please be sure to give it a like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this.